All right. In this video, you're going to learn a awesome process that is called word webs. And why you would want to do a word web is because on some level, if you realize you are holding yourself back or you are avoiding certain things in your life or you're not creating what you want to create, there is something subconsciously that's holding you back. And here's the first step in the three-step process of really changing. Okay. Part one, which I'm going to show you in this video, is the beginning of what we call awareness. Part two is going to be deprogramming, and then part three is going to be reprogramming. I'm going to go in depth on part one here because I want you to actually start to see what is going on inside your mind. I'll give you two quick examples. Let's say right now you're in your career and you want to have a promotion, but you don't know what to do. And you know you got to talk to your boss, but you're not sure how to do it, and you just avoid it, right? That would be an example of you have subconscious stuff in there, and you probably have like 20 things subconsciously that are holding you back. Here's another example. You want to take your relationship to the next level. Let's say you're contemplating getting married, or you want to move or whatever, and you got to have that conversation with your spouse, but you're not doing it, or you're delaying it, or you're afraid of it, or you feel, weird doing it. Guess what? Ding, ding, ding. That is a clear indicator you got something in your subconscious mind. And here's the beautiful thing is you can change it, but it takes a process. So first things first, I want you to make a word web. So go grab a piece of paper, actually put it on paper. It could be Post-it note, whatever. Doesn't have to be fancy, but I want you to write down a word. And here's a word that I guarantee is charged in your mind. Okay. So write down the word love and put a circle around it. Okay. What you're going to do for the next minute is write down 5 other words that come up right away when you look at love. Not what you want it to be, but what is actually in your mind. So you might look at love and then you might write down the word sex. Right? You might write down giving. You might write down, whatever you write down. Relationship. Maybe you have the name of your loved ones. You write that down. Write down 5 to 20 things on here. And then after you write them down, put a circle around it and then draw a line. Okay. So let's say, for example, I had 20 things on here. Here's what this means. Okay. I wrote a whole article on this the other day, but this is now starting to show you how you define words relative to other words. It builds out what I call a word web. And this is like a whole spider web. It's like a matrix inside you of how the information is held. What's interesting is you can have 2 people who are very similar and they can write this down and they will have like 15 out of the 20 words will be different because we're all going to be unique in how we relate to these words. Here's the point. The word love may or may not be a supercharged word for you. But if I put the word, let's say, money in here, and you write down all the words and phrases and memories connected to money, that might start being unique for you. And you might start to realize like, oh shit, I have a lot of programs around money. Let's put down now, let's say even deeper word. A word that I guarantee holds you back. The word stress. Okay. And you write down stress and you start to unpack that. Because here's where you want to get this to. You want to get this to the point where you can see the word and you can see everything it's connected to and it doesn't move you. But right now, I guarantee the word stress, if you're honest in this process, you write down stress and you start to fill things out around it. It's like you start to get insight into your mind and how your mind is actually set up. It's very helpful when you want to start to change your mind. Because if you don't know what's in here, you're screwed. You're just going to be a little sleepwalking zombie going through life. Okay. But if you want to not be a sleepwalking zombie, you want to wake yourself up out of the matrix, so to speak. This is the first step. You have to become aware. Like, did you ever watch the movie The Matrix? Neo was pretty damn aware that he wanted to change things. He was putting out that intention. He's like, I want to wake up. I want to know. Then eventually that happens. I know it's a fiction movie, but it's like, I'm sure on some level you have that desire. Okay, this is step 1, is the awareness. Now, step 2, the deprogram and the reprogramming. Well, you have to be really clear on what is on this list. And when you're hardcore about this, you should make a word web on really these 5 areas. Okay, first, love is a good one, or you could do the word relationship. Next one would be money. Next one would be the word work. Then I would do a word web and put the word mom in the middle, and then another one for the word dad. Even if you didn't grow up with both your parents, I promise you there's stuff in there. And why am I saying these words? Because these words are so fundamental to our worldview. Like, I'm not going to say, hey, go write a word web on the word cup. Like, who cares? Cup is not that relevant to your life and who you are and your identity. But your relationship to your mom and to your dad, your relationship to the word work, which is how you literally have to survive in this world, your relationship to the word money, which is also how you survive, and the word relationship or love, which is how you procreate and establish yourself in the world. All of you see how like fundamental those are. And so we have a lot of emotional charge from this. And when you actually sit down and do this and like really give yourself like 10, 20 minutes to write out a word web, you will have so many insights into how much bullshit got programmed into you. Like, think of all the love scenes in a movie from all the movies you ever watched. Remember being a kid and it was like a scene where, they're either like kissing or it's like a sex scene in a movie. And you're like, am I supposed to be watching this? Like, there's like that morality with it. There's like, oh, am I a bad person from that? There's like all this energy put in with it. And then now we wonder why we have like a 50% divorce rate in our country. And why, you got the husband and then they're not happy and the wife and they're not happy. And they're like, Valentine's Day is tomorrow. How many couples are actually going to be happy on Valentine's Day? I'll tell you this. My wife and I are going to be happy on Valentine's Day because we don't make it special. Like, I think she got some cookies or something. That's our Valentine's Day. But we love it because we have the most fun ever on like a random Monday afternoon together too. So it's not like we have to make this special thing, but that's by design. And my wife and I have both done word webs on the stuff. And so I can see what her programming is. She can see what my programming is. And it's awesome. It's like, that's how you actually develop intimacy. If you really look at what intimacy is, it's a deep understanding of yourself and another person. And it's amazing when you actually have it. Very few people in the world have it. So now you got your word webs. Okay. So you got love, you got money, you got work, and then you got both your parents. And so these will all be separate ones. Go through this and start to write out what's in there. Because now when you have that all on a sheet and you have maybe 20, 30 words around, let's say, your relationship to your dad, maybe you always felt like your dad never really loved you, or you always needed your dad's approval. Maybe the word approval pops up on there, right? Maybe the word hurt pops up on there, right? Maybe he hurt you, physically or emotionally, whatever. Do you see how when you can have this clarity, you can now start to redefine how you want these things to be? Now, the redefinition isn't as simple as just being like, okay, well, I got a new word web and I'll just write out what I want it to be. It's like, that's going to bounce off your mind. Your mind's not going to accept that, but it's a good starting place. Okay. So I want to keep this video simple, just on word webs themselves, so you can start to build that awareness. If you want to know how to do the deprogramming and the reprogramming, message me on Facebook, because I have like 4 or 5 videos that explain this really in depth. And then I can just show you what I've done that's helped me massively to reprogram my relationships. Because here's a beautiful thing. When you actually do the mental inner work, when you do it properly, your outer world will change, because everything is actually equal inside and out. It's like they have that phrase in spirituality, as above, so below, as within, so without. Real change on the inside will manifest in the world. And so that's the level that I care about. If you just want to like feel better for a little bit, I don't think you like my videos, because you probably won't necessarily feel better from it right away. But if long-term, if you see the value in putting in the hard work on yourself up front, because you realize the harder you work now, the easier it gets later, that's the kind of conversation I'm interested in having. So go through this. And after you go through it, send me a message and just say, hey, I watched the word web video. What's next? And I will send you some videos to then explain how you can start to take each last part of it, deprogram what's not helping you. You can keep what's helping you, but then you can start to reprogram it, so then you can redefine things. And it is one of the most phenomenal experiences ever. And so there's some other word webs too I would recommend, like doing one on the word authority, doing one on the word God, doing one on like your top emotions, the word anger. That's a huge one, especially for a lot of guys, but women have it too. There's so much you can do with word webs, but again, I want to make this practical for you, and I want to keep this video relatively short. So enjoy the word webs, and then shoot me a message on Facebook if you want to know how to take this a lot further. All right, see ya.